Hi, my name's Kathy Mingo and welcome to my website www.kathymingo.com. Tonight I'm going to be doing a talk on the new Earth chakra points and the sacred landscape around the UK. So thank you for joining me. Just a little caveat first, any of this information I've channeled myself, so it's all copyrighted to my website kathymingo.com. So if you did want to share this presentation or any of my work, please ask permission from me first and always credit me with this work. So once that's out of the way, thank you again for joining me. So the Earth has its own chakra points like we do. So there was, in 1980s, it was dictated by someone who channeled it themselves about these chakra points that are belonging to certain places on the planet. And that has changed slightly because the actual energy of the planet has exponentially shifted. It's moved forward, it's more accelerated. So the points have slightly shifted. So we will give you a presentation, hopefully you can see it. So we're going to talk about the root chakra point first of all. So the root is the same as the root in the body. So the root chakra point is red, it grounds everything. And the root chakra point for the planet is actually Mount Shasta and the whole surrounding area of that with the ancient redwoods of Northern California. So I don't know if any of you have been to Northern California and the giant redwoods, they're thousands of years old. Some of the tree trunks are so large you could drive cars through them. So it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful energy. And this energy, the root chakra of Mount Shasta, is holding the rest of the chakra points that I'm going to tell you about going forward within these what are called craton layers of the Earth's crust. So the Earth's crust have certain layers and the craton layer is the very one that sits on the top and they move all of the time. So as I said, the root chakra point at Mount Shasta is what's holding all of this energy and the other Earth chakra points, and it is what is going to be what brings up what they're calling the new Atlantis resurgence. So we're coming back into our Atlantean understanding, telepathy, all sorts of things like that. So with the root chakra, as I said, Mount Shasta. And the sacral, which obviously for us sits here, but in the planet, the sacral chakra is at Machu Picchu, Lake Titicaca, and a very interesting place called Pumapunku, which is in Bolivia, Peru. Now this chakra point, the sacral, is the cradle point which allows all of the ancestral energy from our older universes and our older civilizations to bring through what is called the shamanic energy of duality of the light and dark. So what that means is you can't have light without dark and you can't have dark without light. So dark and light have to sit side by side with each other. So this will help shed all of this, what we call residual electromagnetic energy that's coming out at the moment. So this sacral point will just help relieve some of the planet of a kind of toxic overload of electromagnetic charges. And there's going to be a lot of frequency changes coming up on the planet, I would say within the next 5 years, which is going to amplify everything. I don't know if, like probably the rest of us, you feel like at the moment everything's very, very, very accelerated. The Earth has its own frequency called the Schumann frequency. So how the Earth rotates, it gives off a certain frequency, a vibration. And the Schumann frequency has been accelerating, especially over the last 7 months. So you can see it, there's a scientist that daily tracks the Schumann frequency and it's accelerated exponentially in the last 7 months. So if you are feeling a bit out of kilter, could also be that you're picking up on what's going on. Okay, so we're going to move up to the solar plexus, which for us is here, but this is in Alice Springs, Ayers Rock and Katatunja. So this is all obviously in Australia. Ayers Rock, I don't know if any of you have ever been, but it's where the Aboriginals call their kind of spiritual motherland. It's a sacred, sacred landscape. And all of this, like Ayers Rock, Katatunja and Alice Springs, they're all in conjunct to a new solar plexus energy. So everything's in heightening. And this embodies the purity of the Gaia energy. So Gaia being Mother Earth. It's untainted, so these areas with the Aboriginal is very untainted. It's what is called the original sacred sites and the original DNA species on Earth. So Alice Springs used to be just known as a dumping site for a lot of the Aboriginal energies, but now it is a spring, it had water in it, and those waters are starting to come back into the fore in the sacred spring. So this is a lot of energy movement on the Earth, and again the electromagnetic frequencies are starting to heighten at this time. So we're going to move up to the new chakra point of the heart. Now this is close to my own heart personally, because England is the heart chakra point of the world. Now that we've got the heart chakra here, but there is also a secondary heart chakra point called the upper heart chakra point, and this is also called the Hermetic chakra point or Hermetic chakra point. For those of you that are interested in esoteric and Hermeticism, Chem is ancient Egypt, but ancient Egypt. So anyway, so the heart and the upper chakra point, the Hermetic chakra point, sit at Glastonbury, Silbury Hill, which is a Neolithic man-made earth mound. Well, they say it's an earth mound, but it actually is called the English Pyramid. So that sits right where West Kennet Longborough is in Wiltshire. The chakra point is the most important for the rise and the awakening of humanity in what they're calling the Avalonian sphere. So Avalon being the ancient Isle of Avalon. The St. Michael, Mary, Bridget, and there is a new chakra line, well, it's an old chakra line, but it's coming back into being exhumed. It's called the Arimathea line, and that traverses all of the northwest. I'll talk about that later. So Sil Baby, so we've got Silbury Hill, and it's not very known, but Sil Baby is a tiny mound. It's about a third the size of Silbury Hill, that's just over the road, and not a lot of known about it. So that is also part of this chakra point. So it's all in alignment. So if you could see Silbury, Sil Baby, there is another earth mound in Marlborough College that is called Merlin's Mound, but you're not allowed to go up it anymore. You can go and see it. So if you're ever in Marlborough, go to Marlborough College. Incidentally, Marlborough College is where most of the elite have gone to college and have gone on to become prime ministers and people of wealth and power. So we wonder why. Anyway, so all of this is called the English Pyramid, and it has the exact conjunct with the Giza Pyramids, the Giza Plateau, sorry, which is also linked to Osiris. Now the throat chakra point still sits at the Great Pyramid and the Mount of Olives, which is all in the Middle East. It remains the same as the old 1980s channeled grid, and this is a point that is very rooted to the axis of the earth. It's associated with speech, so the throat chakra is about our expression, and this is associated with speech, and it's become the place of divine telepathy. So at the moment, obviously there's a lot going on in Egypt and the Great Pyramid and that whole area, and it's about, they're struggling with oppression at the moment. So what that means is that they can't, the truth is being suppressed, but eventually through all of our history and the fabric of our history, this will be the one chakra point and the place on the planet that will probably open up our understanding for more of our history going forward. Now we're just going to move to the third eye, so the third eye chakra point, I don't know if you can see it on here. Now this is called a shifting mobile chakra point. By shifting it means it can move from certain places, it's not fixed like the other ones are rooted. And this is now, has migrated towards Newgrange, which is a Neolithic site in Ireland, off the coast of Ireland. And it's also linked into what is called High Brazil. Now High Brazil was an island off Ireland that was last seen on a cartograph map in 1595 roughly. So it did exist, it was mapped, but you could only see it once every 7 years because then the mists surrounded it. So it was, I think, a lot of the Avalonian, like the mists of Avalon, that all is pretty much linked to High Brazil. Now, with these High Brazil and Newgrange. They're called the two vortexual points, and it stirs the energy for consistent renewal and revitalisation of the planet. And when I talk about the planet, I also mean for us. So Gaia, if you will, speaks through these points and holds many undiscovered truths and symbols yet to be declared or unsealed. So there is a lot of what I call hermetic information, stuff that we're not aware of yet, but that has started to come in the last year or so. So High Brazil is famed for being the one point that is still in existence before 1595, when it came off the map, of the island of Atlantis. Now the crown chakra point is on the earth, is the Nepalese mountain of Mount Kailas and Makapachapankura. I can't say it, but they're the two sacred mountains. The only mountains of sacred descent in the Himalaya. There was one attempt of these mountains in 1957, they failed, and now the Tibetan and the Chinese governments have said that these mountains can no longer be climbed, so it's off limits to all climbers. The sacred mountain is a connection to the higher astral planes, so it's a connection of heaven and earth. The Hindus and a lot of the Tibetans believe that the mountain represents touching the sky and the heavens, and the base of the mountain, or the demarcation point of the mountain, was linked to the earth plane. So as above, so below. It's also representing the new binary system. So binary system is quantum physics really. So when we talk about quantum entanglement, if you've got two binary stars, they rotate around each other. They're always in each other's orbit. So these mountains are holding this kind of duality energy, and is here to help unify us as a human race. Now, there is another chakra point in the body called the Zeal chakra point. So it literally sits at the top of the neck where the skull meets. So it's called the Zeal. The Native Americans called it the Well of Dreams. But this chakra point is at Stonehenge. And this is our access point to all of our ancestral DNA information that the ancients heralded through Neolithic sites. And these were the cornerstones of our understanding of time and space and eras and epochs within the sort of divine timeline that the ancients believed held all of the true frequency, which make up Stonehenge itself. So Stonehenge is made up of a crystal called Preseli Bluestone, which is a hugely high vibrational crystal which helps attune to divine information. So if possible, that at this point in the Zeal chakra point, because the Zeal is about transformation, transmutation of many things, and Stonehenge is known to be like a portal point, teleportation, dematerialization, and I think where the human body can attune to its light body frequencies. Okay, so we're swiftly going to the Stella Gateway. Now the Stella Gateway chakra point is above the head, and this is Sonato Sagrado in Mexico. This allows flow from the higher astral gateway to flow through to the other chakra point. So this chakra point is a waterfall effectively, so everything pours down from the universe and it points the way for total illumination of our consciousness and delivers a much higher awareness to allow us access to the Akashic records, which, if you follow Edgar Cayce, he believed that the whole universe and all of the information is held within these records. He thought that they were book records. I feel that they're probably a bit more perhaps computer, binary, or even quantum information. Packets of data which we can all attach to. This is the point for light workers or people that are healers or higher energies all around the world. Now the 10th chakra point is called the Cosmic Stargate, and this is Bodh Gaya in India. This is the upper seat of the third eye, and it's linked to the higher etheric realms, angelic, quantum healing, higher frequencies, interdimensional frequencies, and this point links us to all of the earth. and holds high geometric understanding. So the whole universe is literally made up from the Platonic bodies, which are a set of sacred geometry spheres or geometric shape that underpin the entire universe. And when these points are working in unity, they will bring harmony to our planet. So quantum mechanics and philosophy are also going to become a huge part of the human understanding of our place energetically on this planet. So in a word, that's the new system of chakra points on this planet at the moment. We have ley lines through the whole west of England that slides through the heart of Glastonbury, Silbury, Silbaby, and these lines radiate around 25 miles in diameter. So the way I like to see it, if you imagine a fibre optic cable that houses cables, and these other cables are these ley lines, but they're all held within a sort of the same sphere. And this is the Michael, Mary, Bridget lines, but also the Arimathea line as well. And these lines radiate in this vortex of spiral that allows electromagnetic frequency and also plasmic light energy just to go around the planet. The planet is a living, breathing, sentient being, and we need to remember that. So this is Silbury Hill, so can you see that on there? So I was telling you about this. Silbury Hill is the biggest man-made Neolithic earth mound on the planet. And it's beautiful, and the energy there is amazing. And Silbury Hill is linked to what are called the Shining Ones, so a kind of collective light dimensional energies that are linked to this hill. And Silbaby, which I was telling you about, would sit just about here. So if you're ever in Wiltshire, do stop by and see Silbury Hill because it's beautiful. I just wanted to quickly go through just to let you know that we can manifest with the earth as well. So I'm a massive crop circle fan, and so on July 31st 2013 4 people were on a slope just behind here. So this is Etchelhampton, and it's famous for having crop circles, and because it was famous for crop circles, we thought we would sit there and we wanted to manifest a crop circle. So we meditated, we drummed, we used a hertz frequency. So I used a sound bowl, and the sound bowl was actually there too. There was a throat and the third eye, and they were both tuned to 787,000 hertz. Okay, so we used that, and these are the symbols that we asked for. So you can see that this was called the truth symbol, the top one, and then the bottom one we just thought, well, that would be a good shape to try and manifest. So we did all of this. We asked the universe to hear our plight, to let us perhaps manifest a crop circle, and we wanted it in the field. If I just go back, we wanted it in the field here. So not asking too much. So we went home that night after that and came back the next morning to this field, and there was nothing there. So we were a bit disappointed. But then I went on the internet a bit later, and that same night, so the next day, this crop circle showed up. And it was at Milk Hill, where Milk Hill is where one of the biggest crop circles to ever occur happened. So August 1st this was found. People fly over microlights, so this is how a lot of these formations are found. So if I show you a close, so if you can see, we had the truth symbol here, and that's demarcated there in 4 points. And then obviously we had the star with the triangles. So that's a pretty close match as far as I'm concerned. So we were very excited when we saw that this glyph, crop circle, a lot of people don't like to call them circles, so I just call it a crop glyph, turned up. And not many people went in it because the farmer, as you can see, this was the only picture taken of this. And the farmer, you can see right on the edge, that's him with his combine, and he cut it out. So that's my story about crop circles. I thank you very much for joining me tonight, and I'm going to do a lot more videos down the line about all sorts of things from ghost hunting to mediumship, aura, or anything else. So if you've got a topic that you would like me to talk about, join me on www.kathymingo.com and just email me. And go on my TV website, which is YouTube. So that's Consciousness TV with Kathy Mingo. And go on my Facebook, Kathy Mingo. Thanks very much.